Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis. Pleased to be joined by fellow Lifetime Longhorn, young prodigy CJ Vogel, and our own coach, former high school football coach at Burnet, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian, coach there as well, and was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. And now you can catch his work at ShipleyRanches.com. It's our own coach, Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
All good, man. All good. Fun. I mean, crazy time around campus right now, baby. Woo!
Yeah, it is. It is wild. Obviously, Texas spring football will be starting up this week. You got pro day tomorrow, so I'm sure we pack NFL scouts and coaches and front office guys will be there as well. And introduction at one point, I don't know if that's been confirmed, CJ, when they're going to introduce the new men's basketball coach. Do we know when that's going to happen? Thank you guys for joining us, by the way. Hello. What's going on, CJ? So, do we know when that's happening?
Not officially. Right now, the best bet is tomorrow or at the very latest on Wednesday. I'll tell you right now, I'm keeping an eye on a little private jet that's made a trip from Austin back up to Cincinnati. I can't confirm if Coach Sean Miller's on it or not, but it would line up with what I'm hearing that potentially there is a press conference tomorrow, as well as it all depends on when Sean Miller gets down to Austin.
Man, that's a lot going on the 40 acres. If indeed they decide, I can see them pushing it back a day too, just because it'll be so much going on. But it'll be hectic, and of course, we'll be covering it right here on Texas Football. Thank you guys. Yep, CJ does it all. CJ doing the plane trackers now. Yeah, man. As I said, CJ, he's a Renaissance man of many talents. But thank you guys for joining us. No matter where you're joining us from, we really appreciate you guys. You know how it works. You guys can throw out as many questions, comments as you want to. We'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats jump to the front of the line, and you can interrupt the show at any time. All right, a lot of different things we want to get to. We want to talk to spring football and jump into a little pro day discussion as well. I got a couple of mock drafts and draft rankings I want to get to. A couple of them came from NFL Network. I want to get to that coming up. But also I want to, ask you, Coach, just about, I don't know how much college basketball you follow. I know you didn't fill out a bracket. You said that ain't your thing. But they do have a new men's basketball coach. Has yet to be introduced officially, but that's going to happen this week. What are your thoughts just about, a new head basketball coach for Texas sports?
I don't know a whole lot about it other than just all the people that I've talked to and the things that I'm reading. Those in the basketball world feels like it's, a slam dunk hire. So,
yeah.
In fact, I think Bobby was saying this morning, it's probably the second best basketball coach that University of Texas has ever hired, and the first being the one that had to leave a couple of years ago. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I mean, so far I think it's had a good reception. What I'm waiting for is to see how the players on the team announce it as we get into the portal season. Is there going to be enough time to keep those guys together and at least get a chance to visit with him?
Yeah, I did see, CJ, that there is already a Xavier player that hit the transfer portal. We don't know where he's headed. There's a lot of excitement from Longhorn fans that feel like, that Sean Miller may be bringing a couple of players with him potentially, and one of them already hit the portal. That news broke earlier today.
Yeah, that's Dalen Swain, a 6'8" power forward. Look, no guarantee that he ends up in Texas, but we've seen it plenty of times where a head coach departs and he takes a player or two with him. Will Swain follow Sean Miller? We'll see, but he is a heck of a talent, and I think he would be certainly a fit to have a big role here in Austin with the way that the Texas roster is built right now. Excuse me. You see it there, average 11 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game this year. Texas certainly familiar with what he can do in the tournament as well. So this is someone that I would keep a very close eye on. And again, who else might be following Sean Miller is going to be something that's going to be very close to what Texas fans keep an eye on for this week. And also, I know we talked about it for the spring or for the winter football portal, but for the basketball portal to open up tomorrow,
crazy.
There'd be, a full Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four still to go this upcoming week. I don't know how they figure this out, but I would have to imagine that coaches across the country are not pleased. Calipari talked about it after beating Kansas last week, just saying, what are we thinking here? What's going on? A tournament run, and I got to figure out conversations with players on my own roster, whether or not they'll be back next year. There's got to be a better time for this.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing Sark complained about was the calendar. One of the first things he talked about was making that playoff run while also having to deal with the calendar and transfer portals and re-recruiting your own players. A lot of the things Calipari complained about, I read that quote, CJ, sounded like a lot of things that Sark was complaining about, obviously on the football side, but sounds like a lot of the same complaints ultimately that they got to figure out the calendar. The sports calendar right now is all out of whack. All right, we'll get back to, of course, Texas basketball. You guys throw out your questions, and we'll answer as many of them as we can. I was looking at Twitter, and a lot of people are excited, as Coach mentioned, about Sean Miller becoming the men's basketball coach. And my man Doc at Doc_Texas, who does a really good job kind of promoting Texas and having discourse via social media about the different sports. And he threw out a question that I would like to throw out there as well. He just wants to know simply who's the best ball coach now on the 40 acres. I mean, I assume ball means there's a ball in the sport of some kind. All right. Now he laid out because Twitter only gives you they only give you 4 choices when they do any type of poll. So here's our Steve Sarkisian, Vic Schaefer, Schlossnagle, and Mike White. Coach Jared Elliott, I'm sure, is offended by that because he does, volleyball.
He would get my vote, I'll tell you.
That's exactly. So there you go, Coach. You already said it. He'd get your vote. So I'll throw it out there to any ball coach. I obviously swimming and diving and not with that, and track and field, I guess, is not involved either because you're talking about ball coaches. Who is the best ball coach on the 40 acres? If you want to throw it out there, who's the best coach, period, we can do that. But interesting. Who's your choice? Because, Coach, you already said Jared Elliott's yours. Easy.
Yes.
Look, I think you have to go with Jared Elliott, right? He had back-to-back national championships. He wasn't too far off last year from three-peating. So, look, I know that you're inching up there with Vic Schaefer, Mike White, Steve Sarkisian. Final fours are kind of the MO right now. We've seen what Jim Schlossnagle can do so far. 19-3 so far as the Texas baseball coach. But, hey, those national championships carry a lot of weight. And to win 2 of those things, it's hard not to go with Jared Elliott right now.
Yeah. As I said, he probably felt a little disrespected by my man, Doc, leaving him out. I looked at the actual poll and voted on it. Actually, Steve Sarkisian, I believe, is leading the poll.
Wow.
Which I'm with you. I think that's because it's the most popular sport. So I think that's getting more love. And a lot of people think it's a tougher job than a lot of the other sports. I'm not saying that's the case, but I believe that is the mindset for folks who are like, no, it's Steve Sarkisian, even though his resume may not stack up to Mike White's or Jared Elliott's at this point in Texas. So
hey, look, Mike White played in the national championship last year. For him to be at the lowest percentage of all these coaches, it's crazy. I get it. Vic Schaefer, congrats to the Lady Longhorns as well. 17-point win just now. They're going back to the Sweet 16. So a lot of success going on on the 40 acres right now. And hey, if things go to plan with Sean Miller, who's to say in a few years if this poll was reran where he might stand? I think that's what all Texas fans are hoping for. Yep, no doubt about it. No, it's an interesting conversation, and it's like I said, for Longhorn fans, it's I think a golden era that we are approaching in Texas sports, period, not just individual sports, but just among all the sports. We know that from the great job that CDC is doing and the Director's Cups standings year after year. But one of the sports that seemed to have been lagging or lacking, if you will, in those categories was Texas basketball, and a lot of people are hoping that Sean Miller can now bring them back to a certain standard, and that standard that's worthy of Texas basketball fans. All right. I don't know if he's a Texas basketball fan. Maybe he is. I'll ask him when he comes on. Joining us right now, lifetime Longhorn, my former teammate, Stevie Lee, joining us right now. Courtesy of our good friends at Hartgrove Roofing. We appreciate Hartgrove Roofing for not only being a part of the On Texas football family, but bringing us Stevie Lee as well. You can see it right there, hartgroveroofing.com, 512-645-3202. Offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. The most pro burnt orange roofing company out there. Nobody does it better. Don't do it yourself, folks. Leave it to professionals. The professionals over at hartgroveroofing.com. If you reach out today, I believe you can get a free roof inspection from our friends over at Hartgrove Roofing, 512-645-3202. Know who's on your roof with Hartgrove Roofing. Stevie Lee, what's up, brother? How you doing? How was everything? How's your weekend?
Weekend was great, man. Another weekend filled with volleyball, high school volleyball, so club volleyball. So had a really good time. Last week I missed you guys because I was down in New Orleans, Louisiana, with my oldest daughter team, and then they were in Bryan, College Station this weekend. So we're having a good time, man.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. No doubt about it. But since we're just talking about volleyball, we were talking about Jared Elliott. The question we just posed, I don't know if you heard it or not.
I did. I heard that. But so
let me ask you then, Stevie. I throw it out there for you. Who's the best coach on the best ball coach on the 40 acres, man?
Man, I know he said ball coach, but I think the swimming and diving coach is fantastic. They run that program not only here at the University of Texas well, but they've actually put together some really good Olympic teams. As well, being head of the Olympic coach or swim teams as well. I got a funny story about Matt Scoggins is the dive coach at the University of Texas.
Okay.
One of my really good friends, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, we had a really good friend. Her name was Monica. She was a diver at Texas, and she would argue with me that her sport, diving from a 10-foot or 10-meter platform, was harder than running into another 350-pound man. She said that's easy. Try to dive. And so she went to practice the next day after we had this huge argument at their house. She goes to practice and she says, I got this friend, he's a football player, and I want him to go off the 10-meter. Can he go off the 10-meter? Mike Scoggins said, yeah, absolutely, when he's done with his eligibility. He said when he's done with his eligibility. So we go out to the Rose Bowl, play in the Rose Bowl, come back to Austin. Everything is forgotten. I see Monica, and the first thing she says is, it's time for you to get up on the 10-meter. It's time for you to get up on the 10-meter. And I said, I remember this conversation, knowing damn well I remembered every word of the conversation.
Did she have to go up against Leonard Davis?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I should have told her to do that, right?
Oh man!
So we, it came back to my remembrance. So I went to the swim center.
You did it.
I did it. So this is what. Well, let me tell you what happened.
Well, was it a belly buster? Was it a cannonball? Was it a dive?
Let me tell you. So Mike,
when you got out of the pool, did you still have your suit on, your trunks on?
I have my trunks on. So he tells me, he said, I'm gonna have to coach you, Mike Scoggins. I have to coach you on what to do because you just can't get up there and jump off. So he gradually coached me on the I don't know, the 5-meter, and then I don't know what the meters are, but all the other platforms leading up to the tall platform. And hey, bro, it ain't no elevators neither, because you gotta climb those stairs. So I make it all the way up. He's coaching me. He's telling me to keep my hands out to stabilize my body and then hit the water. Yo, I get up to the top and she's sitting on Monica, my friend Monica, is sitting on the side of the platform taunting me like, you ain't gonna do it. You ain't gonna do it. You ain't gonna do it. And I get up there and I look down and I was like, I ain't gonna do it. At this point, the swimmers were in the other pool. Their coach said, you know what, y'all just stop, because they just kept looking at me thinking that I wasn't going to do it. So they were in the middle of the pool just wading water, just watching me. Everybody in the swim center stopped to see if I was going to go off the 10-meter. I had to do it at that point.
I had to do it. So I stepped off the 10-meter, and Mike, on all the other ones, he said, keep your feet together and hit the water. You know, I was going feet first. Keep your feet together and hit the water. Well, my dumb ass steps off and spreads my legs. Oh no! Oh no!
So the water goes right in there.
Oh no! Oh!
So I hit the water from 10 meters up with my legs open.
Oh!
And I stayed on the water for a while just to catch my bearings. And I get up and everybody's clapping and screaming and all this stuff. And she was like, I didn't think you were going to do it. I was like, I had to do it. Yeah, it was a ball buster for sure. So that's my story. Mike Scoggins, if he can teach a 320-pound kid to do off the diving board, he's got my coach of the century, man.
Wow. That is a hell of a story right there, man. I would I would have never done it. I couldn't do that. No way.
Yeah, it was fun though, man. It was fun. My whole time at the 40 acres was fun. So I ended my career jumping off the 10-meter at the swim center.
When
they tear that place down, I'm taking that board with me.
How many dudes your size can ever say they did that? Not many.
I hope not many. I hope.
Stevie, I was grimacing hearing that story, man. I promise.
Done the triple Lindy. Remember that movie, Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah.
He came back to school and he did the triple Lindy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a real dive or not, but that's what he called it.
Oh, I remember that one, Back to School. Oh, that was great. Oh, great movie.
Yeah, Back to School. Yeah, that's right.
Gotta be old school. Remember that one. Oh, Steve, that's good stuff. All right, let me ask you, what do you think of getting a new coach? As we're talking about some of the best coaches on the 40 acres, getting another one in Sean Miller for Texas men's basketball. I don't know how closely you've covered the program. You're a Longhorn, obviously, through and through. Yeah. So I know it matters to you. What are your thoughts about the new basketball coach?
It does matter. First of all, I want to say Rodney Terry did a great job. It was a tough situation for him to come into to take this head position, and he had a good run in the beginning to get the position and things like that. But it was kind of obvious that we needed to go a different direction, and it's okay. He has still has ties at the University of Texas. We're going to still welcome him with open arms in the Longhorn family. But I feel like if you play the University of Texas, that's your resume right there. Because once you finish with us playing against us, then we might hire you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's going to be fun. He's done well at Arizona and at Xavier. So I'm looking forward to coming here to the University of Texas with the program support that we have here. Let's call it that. So I think that he'll do well in recruiting, getting some players in, and I think that embracing the KD brand, he needs to come in and definitely do that. And let KD help recruit some big time players to the University of Texas, and actually build this program back up to where it needs to be. Man, we need to be at least Sweet 16 every year, man. I mean, that's just what comes with coaching at the University of Texas, man. I mean, we tell our football coaches that, they got to be sniffing the playoffs every year. So we need to be in the game and at least at the Sweet 16 and in basketball. And that's my feeling. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I tell you what, when I was there, Chris Del Conte told us in a staff meeting that the goal is that every single program needs to finish in the top 10. In his mind, every single program that's NCAA needs to finish in the top 10.
Yeah, because they're getting top 10 donations around the country. So
come on now, speak on it.
Yeah, return on investment.
Yeah, with transfer portal NIL though, more and more I can see that just being the standard at Texas. It was tougher before NIL and transfer portal. Now, I mean, even fewer excuses for a program like Texas. There are a lot of them around the country that of that ilk, but for Texas, I'm with you. You can afford the best coaches, get the best athletes, and have the best resources too. So yeah, no excuses for not being a top-notch program. Let me ask you something else. We got spring practice getting ready to start up this week. Also got pro days starting up this week. Stevie, who do you think out of all the guys that are coming out this season for the NFL draft, who do you think can gain the most from their pro day workout coming up tomorrow? Big day for those guys.
Yeah. Who needs to gain the most is Quinn. That's who needs to gain the most. Yeah. I think Vernon needs to gain some eyes as well. Is he working out tomorrow?
That's a great question. I know the injury is why he didn't do everything at the combine.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it may not do everything, but I'm assuming he is going to test.
Yeah. And I think Gunnar Helm, is he going to work out tomorrow, or he did everything?
No, he didn't. Remember, he rode his.
That's right. He got hurt.
Remember, he still ran though. He still ran and didn't do the rest of the testing, but he did some of the workouts. I mean, just a beast to do that. And then he put out the picture of his very swollen ankle, so he may do some stuff too as well. Yeah,
he actually would need to. So it was always fun for pro days, man. I remember my class went, and it was was a lot of people that came back for it. There was a lot of people around. Were you back here? Did you come back, Rod?
Yeah. I came back to those first.
Yeah. And we love seeing everybody coming back for pro day. And also it was around Texas Relays where you guys would come down with nice cars, the NFL cars, your big boy cars, and hang out around town for Texas Relays. And this Relays this weekend, isn't it?
Yep. I believe so.
This weekend. So
it's this weekend.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like old Texas again, man. We got spring ball, we got pro day, and Texas Relays, man. It's going to be a lot of speed in town, I tell you that.
Oh, my goodness. On top of that, Texas, son of a Texas high jumping legend will be back in town as well. Jalen Lott will be making the return back to campus for the Texas Relays. And I don't know, for the folks in the chat, obviously familiar with Jalen Lott, son of James Lott, who's in the Texas Hall of Honor, high jumping phenom back in the day. Jalen just cleared 7 feet this past year in the last weekend in the high jump as well. The video's nuts. So yeah, Stevie, lots of great athletes. Texas women's basketball, just talked about it, just wrapped up a win at the Moody Center too. But let me get your thoughts on this, because this has been a topic of conversation as well in terms of whether or not specific sports at specific schools have higher expectations, or maybe in a way unfair expectations, right? You look at, Texas football obviously is going to be the top dog. Does that mean that there's less of a leash for other coaches? Or, you look at an Indiana basketball, Nebraska football, how do you get them back to where they were, for Texas basketball school that's been there once, twice in a blue moon? How do you get back to that level and sustain those expectations if the program's not been there consistently?
Oh, man. I think, one, your athletic director always want to cement a legacy, right? They want to put the coaches in place that made this place great. So CDC coming in and telling Coach Shipley's and Coach Shipley's staff that we need to be top 10 across the board. That's him cementing his legacy. And I think that we have a top 5 football team for the last 2 years and probably for the next 3 years, and then our basketball, our volleyball program, hands off, like they're just phenomenal. And then the basketball programs, both of them, men and women, I think men, the women, they're there. And I think going out and getting this hire right now with Xavier's coach, what's his name?
Sean Miller.
What is it?
Sean Miller.
Yeah, Sean Miller. Going to get Vic is the girls go. Going to get Sean, man, I think that was a hell of a find, because we know he can coach basketball, but then you put the power behind the University of Texas, what we have here. Like, yes, we were there every blue moon, CJ. I take offense to that, what you said, though, because we were good for a long time with TJ Ford and all those guys. And then,
right.
Yeah,
that was the blue moon.
Yeah. They're coming and everybody in between. And we put a lot of guys in the NBA. Like, you can turn on the game any night and like, oh, that kid was at Texas, man. We had Jackson Hayes and back in the day, DJ Augustine and then Royal Ivy. I thought Royal Ivy was going to be the next coach at the University of Texas, right? Like he did a really good job in the Olympics with the South Sudan team. So he has some head coaching experience and been coaching ever since he left playing basketball. And his really good friend is Kevin Durant, right? And whenever Kevin Durant talks over in their building, and they listen, you know what I mean? So and Royal coached Kevin when he was at the Thunder too. So I thought that was going to happen, and Royal now lives in Houston, coaching with the Houston Rockets. I was waiting on that news, but I'm still happy with the pick that we have. But CJ, to answer your question, man, coming to the University of Texas, everybody feels the pressure, and you have to perform, or you're going to be out of here for sure. Yeah. Like, it comes from the head coaches down to the position coaches, and then when it comes to football, QB1, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders. Even D-line 1, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders because you're playing for the past people behind you. You know what I mean? So that's it's just going to be pressure on you, and some can handle it and some can't.
Yeah, no, a lot of people wanted Royal Ivy, and I don't even know if he was maybe after it all settles down, somebody can ask CDC, was he even on the list of candidates? How low down on the list was he? One thing I'll say though, I think Royal Ivy, unless he has a head coaching job, he'll leave to come back to Texas if he's offered that job. But if he has a head coaching job, obviously that's a different situation. But I think that's how much he would love that Texas job. So, and he's still young and up and coming. But I'm with you, man. He's a star. No doubt about that.
He's an up and coming star in the whole basketball world, man.
Oh yeah.
From New York City, where you play at Rutgers Park. He used to talk to me about playing at Rutgers all the time, man. And as a high school student, So he got skills, man. I remember it's like the ball was on a string. He can dribble, and then he passed that along to other players throughout the generations. So he's a good one.
Yeah. Good stuff, Steve. We appreciate you. I won't take up too much of your time, brother, because I know you got things to do. But you always make time for us, and we really appreciate you each and every
man. I appreciate you guys, man. Shout out to my daughter. Last weekend, they got a bid to go to nationals. So, I was real happy for them to get this bid. Last weekend was supposed to be her last tournament, but they won a bid to go to nationals, and I was like, yay! And I was like, damn, I got to buy tickets to Salt Lake City, Utah, get a hotel room. We got to get food and all this stuff. I was like, shit. Golly, man.
Yay!
Another $5,000 out of my pocket, man. Yay!
That's exactly right. Hey, man, congratulations, though. That's impressive, though, no doubt.
Yeah. Hey, so let me tell you, if you want to help Stevie get out there to Salt Lake City and you're looking for a house or you want to sell a house, get a hold of my man at Stevie Lee 65.
Yeah, thank you,
man
Coach.
needs some commissions.
CJ, won't you put out me a GoFundMe on your page, and then they can help me too, man.
We'll get them coming in.
Stevie, we appreciate you, brother. Take care.
All right, man. Thank you, guys. Hook 'em.
That's Lifetime Longhorn by former teammate Stevie Lee, brought to you by good friends over at Hartgrove Roofing, hartgroveroofing.com. Yeah, he's right. I remember a lot of folks were excited about Royal Ivy. I think that CDC wanted to go with something that was more of a proven commodity, considering, you can say that you've whiffed on, the last few coaches at Texas. Obviously, Chris Beard was a different situation, but it still ended up being a miss because you had to move on from him, obviously prematurely. So I think with, Shaka and, Chris Beard and Rodney Terry, I think he wanted to go with somebody that he thought was more of a proven commodity. But everybody says great things about Royal Ivy. I know Royal Ivy personally. I had class with Royal Ivy back in the day when I was at Texas from 2000, maybe in 2001, something like that. I had class with him. Great dude, fantastic human being. Glad everything's going really well for him. And I know he's got enough love for Texas that if offered, he probably would have come back here to Texas and probably still will in the future because he's on a rocket ship and he'll have a head coaching job at in the next 5 years or so. But who knows what Texas will be in this 5 years. Yeah. All right. Thanks to Stevie Lee. We appreciate him coming on with us. All right. Let's start talking a little bit about spring football and pro day. Spring football starting up tomorrow officially for the Longhorns. They'll start spring practice. CJ, you put out a tweet about some of the newcomers and the numbers at the newcomer. I don't know if they get to choose their numbers. I don't know how it works. Back in my day, Coach, I wasn't big time enough to choose my number when I came in. I won number 2, and Chip, the equipment guy, love my man Chip. He just threw me number 21. It was like, you number 21. I went to Coach Brewster, who recruited me, to complain because I was like, hey, Coach Brew, when I was being recruited, you said I was going to be number 2, which was Deion's college number. And then Coach Brew sold me, basically a bill of goods saying, oh, you want to be number 21. You don't want to be number 2. Deion's number 21. He's known for being 21. You want to be number 21. So that's why I was number 21. These guys, CG, they get to choose their numbers or they get punked like Rod B got punked?
Look, a few get to select. Now, of course, we'll talk about Ryan Wingo, where a lot of these guys want single-digit numbers, Rod. That's hot in the streets now.
Yeah.
But you get a specific pecking order depending on priority, recruitment, etc. One name that's not on this list is Bo Barnes, who picked up number 30. I would assume that there would be some number movement again next year, and we'll see what numbers are changed. Remember, Xavier Worthy moved down. Jonte Cook moved a number around. There's all sorts of movements from year 1 to year 2 with numbers, and guys are finicky like that. We'll see if the number 3 is picked up at all. Of course, picking up on the offensive side of the ball with Quinn Ewers departing, but these numbers are a hot commodity. It's like real estate, right? And the lower the number, the more valuable it becomes. Yep. So you see it there right away. Number 8 for KJ Lacey. And maybe y'all can help me out here. Anybody on the offense side of the ball recently worn number 8 and been pretty good at Texas? Maybe the chat can help me out here.
No. Yeah, there have been plenty good ones.
Absolutely. Yep. But you see number 2 right there for Jamie French. I would assume that was a big part of his recruitment is, hey, when these numbers are picked up, you can go have the first choosing. That's just how it goes for, those big out-of-state national recruitments. But, hey, it's fun for us to talk about. And I'm sure tomorrow, whenever that roster drops again, we'll be sitting here going all the way through the heights, the weights, everything else that'll be dropping and creating more of the excitement when it comes to the 2025 Texas football team.
Yeah, G-Town Eagle wants to know what number is Jonah Williams? Yeah, what number is Jonah Williams?
Great question. I don't know right now. Of course, he's still across the highway at Dish Falk Field for Texas baseball right now. He will be obviously participating in some meetings for football this spring, but as of right now, I'm not sure of a number that was assigned for Jonah this spring. It could certainly change. And yes, Syracuse Horn, we talk about single-digit numbers for a lot of these guys. A number 15 for a defensive lineman is very funny.
Hey, it depends on how sleek they look, right? Because some of those numbers make you look sleek, so maybe he wants to look a little slimmer, Coach, with that 15.
Who was that last year we had that had a receiver number playing D-line?
We had big Bill Norton.
Bill Norton, yeah, that's right. Man, you need like 99 or something to take up that big old space you got on that jersey. That big old 3X jersey.
Oh man, those single digits. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to be a single digit these days, but nobody has pride in their number anymore. Like guys just change numbers. I mean, they'll have a great season in a number and then decide I want to be a different number.
And what they don't understand is, at least back in the day, if you kind of start making a name for yourself, then the stores are gonna, they're gonna be putting out your jersey for sale. Now all of a sudden, what number 1 is not who they thought number 1 was going to be, and they've already got, they already thought, man, this dude's going to be a big name. We're going to put out his number. Then all of a sudden he changes number 1. They're like, oh man, we're stuck with all these jerseys,
Yeah, I guess I don't get it. There's no pride in numbers. No, the guys don't care about numbers anymore at all. And I get it because now they switch schools too. So I mean, it doesn't really matter like it used to. But man, back in my day, numbers kind of sacred. Coach, what number were you? What number?
38.
Boom. See?
Only because they didn't have 37, which was Doak Walker's number, who my dad played with at SMU. They were buddies. I was 37 in high school, but they didn't have 37 at Abilene Christian. We were just a poor little private school, back then. So I just had to take what I could get.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's everybody's inspired to wear a number because you saw somebody cool wearing it, somebody you looked up to wearing it. Right? Yeah. That's usually kind of sometimes there's a special story behind the number or something like that. But 817, I know I'm getting old because everything starts with back in my day. That's how I know I'm getting old. That's true. CB says Wingo changed numbers. Yeah, Wingo went from number 5 to number 1.
Yeah,
number 1. Is that correct? Yeah, I mean, I can get that too. I get it. Number 1 is, but he already had a single digit that was kind of cool. But I guess 1 is cooler than 5. So man, upgrading there. I get it. But Ryan Wingo looked good in 5 though.
Yeah, he did.
He was making 5
faster than number 1. You know how that works.
Yeah, that's great point. Texas Chick 01 says need a wide receiver wearing 77. Yeah, what's the weirdest number that a wide receiver wears? They always end up with
90 something. It's got to be an eligible number.
I
tell you, the guys that I feel sorry for, no respect, as Rodney Dangerfield used to say, the kickers. I mean, if you're a kicker and you go out there with a 90s number on, who takes you serious?
Coach, it's worse when they got something in the 50s.
There's a lot of chips out there. The equipment guy that would give the kickers 90s. Here, just take this one. Just shut up and just be glad you got one.
I feel like I see more kickers wearing 90s than I do 50s. 50s, I'm thinking your hands in the dirt, you're about 325 pounds. 90, very much the same. But I can't get over a guy kicking a field goal in a 55 jersey just thinking, God.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And you got to order extra small for a 55.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll get some more spring football conversation and your questions. I see the questions over there piling up. We'll get to those in just a second. But first, let me thank our friends over at Von Lane before we move on here. You've tried flying. You've probably tried driving to all the major cities in Texas: Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. And let's face it, it is a hassle. Now it's time for you to upgrade to the smarter way to travel between major Texas cities, and that's Von Lane, folks. Let's face it, flying is a hassle. Security lines, you got packed gates, delayed flights, and the ridiculous prices of everything in an airport, all for just an hour flight. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress and the headaches, and driving isn't much better at all either. Driving is a hassle as well. That same day round trip, you lose productivity. You got emails piling up, calls going unanswered, work left undone, and you got traffic that you have to deal with, all while trying to focus on the road. That wasted time and loss of productivity, that is something also that can be a problem, but not with Von Lane. Von Lane changes everything. It's luxury regional bus travel. Well, some people call it a private jet on wheels. I can attest to that. I've actually taken the Von Lane to Houston. I've taken it to the DFW area. You sink into a plush leather seat with a leg rest. You stay connected with complimentary Wi-Fi. You enjoy complimentary snacks and drinks on every trip, plus delicious meals on select departures. And if you need to freshen up, they have hot towel service. They also have eye masks and pillows and blankets to keep you cozy. The Von Lane team takes care of every detail, so you can sit back, relax, unwind, and enjoy the most comfortable travel experience on the road today. Now, if you're a business traveler, you'll recapture lost productivity. If you're traveling just for vacation or leisure purposes, you can sit back, relax, and get pampered on the Von Lane. And if you're planning a guy's trip, girl's trip, bachelor party, bachelorette party, wedding trip of some kind, football game, concert, or special event, you can charter your own Von Lane coach for the ultimate group experience. Von Lane is first-class travel without the hassle. See for yourself. Visit vonlane.com. That's VONLANE.com, and use the promo code OTF25. That's OTF25 for $20 off your first trip at vonlane.com. Thank you very much to Von Lane for sponsoring the Winning Drive and being a part of the On Texas football family. All right, let's get to a couple of questions here, and then we'll get to some pro day discussion and some spring football discussion. Travis wants to know, do y'all think Miss Chavez like watching Texas dominate? Yeah, CJ, Aaliyah Chavez making her decision tomorrow. Is that tomorrow? Is it tomorrow? When is it happening? Tomorrow, this week?
Tomorrow. Early afternoon, around 2 o'clock Central Time. So again, just adding to what is going to be the hustle and bustle of a busy week here in Austin. That's as big of a recruitment decision that you'll see in quite some time for a sport that's not football. So it's going to be between Texas and Oklahoma. That's what On Texas Football believes right now. Of course, Texas has the better program right now. They're more successful, I think, bigger brand when it comes to women's basketball as well. But there's also the conversation about Air Jordan and the Nike brand over in Norman. Texas, obviously, a Nike school as well. Jordan obviously has its own subsidiary. But you look at what she might be able to do in that system, more probably playing a little bit more free rather than trying to fit the Vic Schaefer mold down here. That's been a point of contention right now, but we'll see. Because again, Texas, hard to complain when you're up winning by 17 points to move to the Sweet 16. They're cruising right now, and that program's not going to disappear anytime soon.
Hey, don't think Texas Tech's not going to throw some big NIL money at her as well, although they're an Adidas school. And it depends. She hasn't signed a Nike contract yet, has she? She's always worn Nike. Right.
She hasn't yet, Coach, but that's kind of where we're leaning right now, is that Nike is going to end up being the school that comes away with it. Obviously, for the long-term WNBA, she moves on. She'll have a Nike deal in place. But, look, we've seen it already in softball. Texas Tech coming up for Nigeri Kennedy. Look, we thought that was going to be Texas and Oklahoma, two teams that just faced off against one another in the Women's College World Series, and all of a sudden it's Texas Tech that's celebrating out in the desert. So you're right, can't count them out, but right now they're on the outside looking in.
And my understanding is the only media that's allowed is ESPN. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we'll figure out the decision at the same time everybody else will, assuming there are no leaks or anything like that.
Big news coming tomorrow. All right. Thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Come on, Snoop Dogg. Get out there, CJ.
Hey, CJ, he's too busy. He's already looking up private planes that are traveling to Austin, and he's got plane numbers and all kind of stuff. CJ's working hard. He's got a lot of different things that he's got going. All right, thank you for that. Let's get to another question. How about this from Shivam? What position are you guys most excited for in the offense? I'm going to talk about this spring. Yeah, a lot of question marks, honestly, on the offense, right? O-line, you're replacing 4 starters. Wide receiver, Deontay Moore will be out this spring. Ryan Wingo's really the only guy that was in the circle of trust that'll be available this spring for you. Tight end, CJ, you pointed out several times, you don't return a catch at the tight end position right now. And then running backs coming off one of the more injury-riddled seasons that we can remember at the running back position overall. Oh, man, I guess I'm going to say quarterback just because of Arch. That's the easy answer. Did you guys have another one? I have more question marks than I do excitement, really, about the offense.
Take quarterback out of it, Rod. Where are you going?
Then I'm going to go with I'll go with running back then. If I'm taking quarterback out of it, I'll go with running back because you got a proven commodity in Wisner coming back. Then Cedric Baxter won't be available, but in terms about the depth that position overall, looking at the offense, and then hopefully like a guy like a Jared Gibson and one of those other young bucks like but Christian Clark or maybe a Simon, somebody else thrown in the mix too. I think you're going to be really deep there when it's all said and done at running back, I believe. So maybe it's running back.
If I could split this answer into 2 parts, right? For the spring, I'm looking at wide receiver, right? No DeAndre Moore means Parker Livingstone's going to have to stand up. What does an Aaron Butler look like? And who of the freshman class makes moves? Is it Michael Terry? Is it Jamie French? Is it Khalid Lockett? How does Dalen McCutcheon kind of, fit into this conversation as well? But if you were to ask me this again in fall camp, Rod, I'm right there with you. I want to see this running back group because, look, they were hamstrung last year, and they still put together a solid year. It wasn't great, but you got a 1,000-yard guy coming back. Who becomes your pass-catching back? Does pass protection improve? C.J. Baxter coming back off the ACL injury. What does he look like at full strength? But also James Simon, Ricky Stewart now a part of it. What does Jarrett Gibson look like? That's a room with a lot of questions, but a lot of talent and some big-time talent ready to take the next step. So that's my answer. Wide receiver in the spring, running back for the fall.
Yeah, definitely wide receiver for me too in the spring because you're going to have so many guys that are going to get a shot, and get first-team reps that might not normally get first-team reps with a large number of guys returning. So everybody in the receiver room is going to have a chance to make a name for themselves or at least get in that circle of trust that we always talk about. But I'm also excited. I really think we've done a good job recruiting on the offensive line. Normally when you lose 4 offensive linemen, it's like, oh my gosh, what in the world are we going to do? But we saw it this past season, when we had our number 6, number 7 guys come in and do a really good job and be versatile, being able to play multiple sides, left and right and, center and guard in different positions. So since you said wide receiver, I honestly, deep down inside, I'm most excited to see the receivers and these young guys come in and see if they can get in that circle of trust. But really the offensive line is one that I'm really looking forward to watch and tracking their progress through this spring ball because, again, a lot of guys are going to get a lot of chance to get reps that they haven't been able to get. The backups haven't been able to get first-team reps in the past couple of years. But now we're going to have a lot of guys in there vying for those positions. And I love it when Kyle Flood can move those guys around and create a very versatile offensive line. Man, that's I'm excited about that because he loves to cross-train those guys, and I think it's paid off for us.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that, Coach. All right, getting back to some of the questions. How about this one from David Keith Williams? Says, Rod Babers, what is your view of high school junior and Texas DB target Jalen Lott? High jumping 7 feet this past weekend. I mean, CJ brought that up earlier. I saw the video, actually. on social media, and it is freaky. He reached 6'8" actually as a sophomore, and now is already jumping 7 foot. And CJ said he's going to be competing at the Texas Relays. I watched film on a young man, and he plays both ways, right? Plays offense and defense.
Where does he go to high school at?
He's up at Frisco Panther Creek. He was previously at Lovejoy.
His daddy was his dad from Refugio?
Yeah.
James Lott was from Refugio.
Yeah.
That had some studs. Look at that.
Look at that dude.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, how about this? Lovejoy's offense 2 years ago, you had Parker Livingstone, Dalen McCutcheon, and Jalen Lott, a freshman Jalen Lott. So my boys back home put it together. Wide receiver HS now. Is that what?
Hold on. Who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback? And how did he not have crazy numbers?
Oh, he did. He did, because they also had Kyle Parker, who ended up at LSU. Texas was recruiting pretty heavily, and Jackson Lavender, who is at SMU now.
Right.
They had some weapons.
Hey, speaking of track and field prodigies, Lavender's father was an incredible pole vaulter. Right? I was with him a lot because I had a really talented pole vaulter at Temple High School at that time, and we competed against Jason Lavender a lot, and I got to know him very well, and we're still friends to this day. But he was like, he went on and vaulted at Tech, and then played football at Tech. Jason Lavender, I think he was 18 plus pole vaulter, and so that's another track and field prodigy son. I don't know. I think he's going to try to make some noises. I think he was a freshman last year, wasn't he, at SMU?
Yes, Coach.
Yeah. But Lott is. Can you imagine that guy going up and getting a football?
Yeah. No,
talking about a jump ball.
That's why. I mean, they have him playing DB, right? I mean, that's what is he being recruited by other schools to play offense? CJ?
Yeah. So I stopped by the McKinney North Invitational track meet last weekend while I was up in Dallas. I talked with a lot. Texas and Georgia are recruiting him as a cornerback currently.
Okay.
Ohio State, Oregon, and a couple others are seeing him as a wide receiver. So
wow,
all over the map. And again, those are the best schools that are recruiting them right now, right? You got Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, LSU. That's basically the five that I would kind of pencil in as that group separating themselves from everybody. But that's a heck of a group, and to see the split amongst those schools, pretty interesting.
I would see him as a DB. What do you see him, CJ? What do you just this your scouting eye alone? I'm biased though because I want him to play DB for Texas.
Okay, what's his size, CJ?
It's about 6 foot, 5'11".
He's about 6 foot, probably 175 right now. So
6 foot. Jumping 7 foot.
Yeah, that vertical is going to be nasty.
Coach, he's fun to watch in person, and that's the thing is, I was sent so much of his tape when he was a freshman at Lovejoy, just on the freshman team. Right, they stuck him together with that freshman class, and I'd never seen a more effortless wide receiver at that level. He was making one-handed catches. There were some hurdles in there. It just felt like he also never reached a full speed because, I mean, he was just so open, right? So I saw that tape and I said, that's a 5-star wide receiver. And then his sophomore year, obviously he's behind a lot of those wide receivers I just mentioned over at Lovejoy. They flip him around to cornerback while he goes up against those guys every single day. And I say, wait a minute. You know, I saw him week 1 against College Station up at the Tom Landry Classic in Allen High School. And I said, this is varsity career start number 1. And he's locking down a tight end who 6'4", 6'5", has several D1 offers while playing cornerback. I'm like, wait, he can do both. So to me, it's all about what does he want to do. If he wants to play wide receiver, I tell him, hey, we can get you 40, 50 targets a year right away. If he wants to play cornerback, hey, we'll flip you around. Mark Orfe's got it figured out for you. Right now, again, Mark Orfe is the guy leading the way. And he's also got some connection to Dwayne Aquina, who his sister is a track athlete on the West Coast as well. Go figure, right? But they took a trip out. The family took a trip out to Stanford a few years ago to go see the facilities, see the campus. Dwayne Aquina, obviously, on campus at the time. He and Pops had a chat, and Jalen at the time was an up-and-coming junior Olympian. So he stopped by the campus, and the two have been building a relationship since then. So the move to Texas actually that benefited the Longhorns quite a bit there.
Nice. That's a nice nugget there. And I know that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with CJ. I've watched him. I think he could play either one at the at the highest level. Because dad was a defensive back. Talking to his dad, the conversation we had with him, he didn't say this, but I almost got the feeling that he's going to be a DB. Yeah, Pops was a DB, but you know what? He may decide, hey man, I want to play wide receiver. That's the glamour position these days. But if Texas is indeed going to play more bump and run coverage, like I suspect they will, with the addition of Mark Orfe coming on as the cornerbacks coach, and then with Coach Akina as well, and then the history of Johnny Nansen, if they're going to play a little bit more man coverage, these are the types of cornerbacks, especially if you want to play press man coverage. You need more athletes like Jalen Lotz, like Cade Phillips, those type of freaky, long, rangy guys. And I think that's ideally what they want for a press corner is Jalen Lott. But he's amazing.
Yeah, he is. And if I can bring this up by Football Junkie, Donovan Webb is his teammate at Panther Creek. He might be the best defensive back in Texas. Look, that's Football Junkie's comment. I'm not going to disagree with it. Heck of an athlete as well. He currently has 9 official visits set for April, May, June. 9. That's the most I've ever heard of, by the way. Texas not yet having one scheduled with him, but there is a ton of interest from the now Dwayne Akina staff and that Texas defensive class. So it would not surprise me at all if an official visit would be set with him. That'd be number 10. And Webb will be making it in this week for the Texas Relays with Lott, who will be jumping for Panther Creek.
That's crazy. So they're both in the same class too?
Same secondary, yeah. Yep, yes. And classification, yes.
Dang. Yeah. I will say that I did play in the secondary with, my boy Jerome Sapp was a USA All-American and I was all state. Like I played in one of them secondaries too. So that sounds to me like those guys are pushing one another to greatness. That's what I remember about that. Me and Sapp competing with each other, but also, being almost each other's greatest like ally and motivator together. Because he was great. He was great before I was great. He was an All-American as a junior. Dude was he went to Notre Dame, played in the NFL. Guy was a beast of an athlete. But when you play with guys who are on that level, and you said that, CJ, he's been playing against guys like that since he was a freshman. And then you're talking about his father, so he's an old soul because his dad was a world-class athlete. So he grew up in a house where it's all about, performing and about excellence and competing at a high level. Man, to me, that's almost a perfect recipe to produce, and the genetics, obviously, with dad. Yeah. It's a perfect recipe to produce an elite, world-class football player. I don't even know what he's going to play, but just like I said, all the different circumstances surrounding him, I like everything about it. And I'll say this, David Key Williams, about guys who are track athletes like him that are explosive athletes, talking about long jump, high jump, with triple jumpers down there. And I'm sure he's a great sprinter too, but we're talking about him as a high jumper. Transition speed. That's the one thing that really translates to being a DB from that specific skill set, that when those guys get out of their breaks, it's explosive. Transition speed from one based from that T-step or coming out of your break or flipping your hips and being able to turn. That's what you look at. That's what Coach Akina or some of the scouts will be looking at with a track athlete like that. All right, good stuff there, David. Keith, appreciate the question. All right, we'll get back to some more questions. First, let's thank our friends over at Flat Creek Estate Winery before we move on. Flat Creek Estate Winery, just minutes from downtown Austin, folks, and they've won award after award for their vintage wine, Super Texan. Super Texan actually now available at your local spec. They also have the Super Texan. I saw it at your local Central Market here at Austin as well. Had a great display there with all the Flat Creek wines. So the Flat Creek name is getting out there. The brand seems to be spreading because they make such great wines. Not only the Super Texan, which is award winning, but the Pinot Grigio is really good. The Rosé is very, very refreshing. You can go check it out at flatcreekestate.com or go to Specs or your local Central Market here in Austin. Of course, Flat Creek not only producing some of the best premium wines on the market, but it's also a gorgeous venue with barbecues and wine tastings every single weekend. It's perfect for a day date with your significant other or a weekend getaway with your significant other. That's Flat Creek Estate Winery. Go check it out at flatcreekestate.com. Really appreciate them for being sponsors of the Winning Drive and being a part of the On Texas football family. How about this? Getting back to the questions, Football Junkie, when will the spring roster be released? I imagine, is that the first media availability, CJ, or news conference that it'll be released? Or we don't
Look,
know.
I have my fingers crossed for tomorrow, but again, I don't know. They don't publicize the release dates for these things. They kind of just drop them on you. More times than not, it's on a Monday. So it would make sense. Obviously, Texas does not have a media availability with Steve Sarkisian scheduled for tomorrow. And based off of what Sark told us, if they practice Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, that would mean next weekend would be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. So next Monday would also kind of make sense too. But I want it. I need that roster right now. I want to see the changes, man. Who doesn't?
I know. I love it. I want y'all track the body changes. Like this guy gained 18 pounds. This guy gained. I love that kind of.
Let's sit here and we'll just roster bait all together with the changes in weight, the changes in. I mean, it's great. It's one of my favorite things. A part of the season.
No, I'm with you. I'm the same way too. I'll sit there and then just start to randomly either like fantasize about what this player is going to turn into because of the weight transformation, or what are the coaches what are they trying to gain by him putting on this type of weight, this type of armor, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's fascinating. All right. Thank you for that, Football Junkie. And when the roster is released, of course, we'll let you know. CB says we need the Rod B, Coach Akina reunion on video. CJ and his roster.
Yeah, we'll get that trademark.
I'm glad I read that slow so that I could stop myself. I'm glad I read that slow. CB says we need the Rod B, Coach Akina reunion on video. Yes, honestly, I believe. I don't know for a fact. I wonder if he'll be at Pro Day. And so what if he just makes it?
Absolutely.
He comes out, if he just comes out there to Pro Day, I'll see him. If he just comes out there to make an appearance, because I'm going to go to Pro Day. I think that may be where it happens. And so there will be a camera there of some kind. I'll get a selfie with him and put it out there, CB, for the people. Guarantee you that. All right. Let's get to
Rod.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you on the topic of Coach Akina, with tomorrow being the first practice, what is it that you hope these young DBs take away from their first practice or week of practice with Coach Akina?
Oh, man, that's so good. That is so good. That's a great one. I've been obsessed recently with this past secondary and looking at their really elite traits as a secondary, what set them apart, what made them great. I remember Bobby talking about this early in the season, right? He thought like football IQ, he said, was something that this secondary showed, that they had a really high, extremely high football IQ, because you didn't see a lot of coverage busts, right? You didn't see blown coverages with this group, right? Very rarely did you see guys out of position, guys running free in the secondary, right? They were really buttoned up. Like that's why they play some of the best pattern match coverage you can play. Guys just weren't running open in the secondary. Even when guys caught football, a lot of times talking about contested catches, guys were right there on them. And so in addition to the football IQ, eyes. I've been talking about this lately a lot. Eyes. I've been rewatching a lot of film with this group, and I'm just amazed. So impressed at how good their eyes were. They had such great eye discipline, Coach. You would, and you can go back and watch film. Janae Barron, I keep bringing this up. He had 5 interceptions. 3 of those, he's actually defending someone else's offensive player in coverage. He's 3 of his 5 interceptions when he is not the primary defender. He's a help defender. He was going over to help out somebody else. Right. And that just shows you got to have, not only you have high football IQ, but you got to have extremely wide vision to be able to analyze all of the formation and the entire route concept and combination to go, all right, I'm going to go over there and jump number 3. And the first pick is probably the best example of it that he got the season against Colorado State, where he goes to rob the post from the opposite side of the formation. This is how wide his vision is. And how great his eye discipline is. He went from his primary read, which is probably Q being a 3-step, and then probably went right to number 2, and then right to number 1, and went, well, I got no work. I'm going all the way to the opposite side of the formation. But you got to be able to see it. You can't just think it. You got to be able to see it, and then have yourself in position, your body in position, right, as a defender, to be able to go jump the post, all right, from the opposite side of formation. But it started with his vision. And Makuba was the same way. Makuba was great at being able to go rob 6 routes from the opposite side of the formation, only because of the eye discipline that he had. And you're going to lose both of those guys. And Taft had amazing vision as well, very disciplined eyes. And you get Taft back, but you're going to lose Makuba and Janae Barron, who were two of your best ball hawks. But a lot of it's because they were ball hawking as help defenders, the extra defender that the quarterback didn't account for in that route combination. And the quarterback was like, well, hell, what was I supposed to do, coach? He wasn't supposed to be there. Coach was like, yeah, I guarantee you, coach didn't even yell at those guys for those interceptions. The ones that Janae Barron got when he robs the seam route or robs the post or Makuba robbing the six because the coach went, man, he wasn't supposed to be there. That's an NFL draft highlight reel play. It will be on his draft highlight reel. Why? Because that's what NFL players do. And that's a league play. And that I saw that so many times in secondary. So me, vision is what they can give Coach King. Coach King was big about, hey, your feet go where your eyes go. I can still hear him yelling it. Your feet go where your eyes go. Like, get your eyes in the right place and your feet will go there with you. And that I think that epitome, to me, that was the epitome of this secondary. Their eyes were in the right place, so their feet were always in the right place. And if I can gain I wish they would gain anything from Coach Akina this spring, eye discipline. That's what I want for him.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, been obsessed with that lately. Watching this this secondary from this past season, man. I said 05 was probably the last secondary I remember with eyes as good as this 2025 secondary. It's been 20 years since Texas had a secondary with eyes that good. Period. CB says, didn't Earl Thomas say Rod had the best feet and footwork in DB history? Earl, there is actually audio of Earl Thomas saying that I had the best feet that he had ever seen at Texas. I'm just saying it's proof of it. But it's because I had decent eyes. Like I had pretty good eyes. My eyes were never in the wrong place. There are some Texas football players, and I would not name them. You probably can guess them by listening to me rant over the years, where they would be watching the play, like literally watching the play sometimes. I'm like, you can't watch the play. You have to be going through your progressions. Quarterbacks have progressions. So do DBs. So do linebackers. Everybody's got progressions. You just got to go through them and be disciplined going through your progressions. And that's what I saw from this group. So thank you, CB. But the feet are good because the eyes are good. There you go. All right, Coach, what are your thoughts about eyes? Underrated quality for a DB?
No, well, you call them eyes. I call it anticipation.
Okay.
We talked about that last week. I mean, just being able to have a good feel. And, one thing we hadn't talked a lot about, Rod, but the thing that this last class of DBs did is I think they prepared themselves well. Lots of film, lots of, understanding and recognizing route concepts that they've seen and they've been coached, and being able to anticipate what's going to happen because you're prepared. You can't have anticipation if you're not prepared. The right anticipation, because you'll see guys that'll jump routes sometimes and then they'll get burned because they weren't prepared, for what could possibly happen from this route combination.
Great point. Their eyes, it's a great point, Coach. Their eyes may have been disciplined, but because they didn't have the preparation, they didn't know what the route combination was going to be. So you were just guessing. And anticipating are very different. If you don't know, then you're just guessing. But if you actually do know and you have a great idea about it, then that's more anticipation. So I agree with you on that, Coach. All right, let's dive into some of these mock drafts. I had a couple of mock drafts I want to get you guys' thoughts on before we end the show today. So Chad Reuter of NFL Network, he did a 4-round mock draft. So, kudos to him. He went 4 rounds deep in this mock draft, and not a ton of surprises. But in the 4 rounds, he's got the 3 Longhorns who have been in everybody's first round mock draft, pretty much post combine. He's got Kelvin Banks going 13 to Arizona. He's got Janae Barron going 16 to Miami, and he's got Golden going 23 to Green Bay. There is a surprise though. He's got a 4th Longhorn in his first round. He's got Isaiah Bond sneaking into the first round. At 32 to the Rams. I know I haven't seen much of that, if any, buzz about Bond, if you will. But they're good for Bond. Maybe behind the scenes, Bond with workouts, interviews. Maybe he's starting to rise up some folks' draft boards. Certainly Chad Reuter thinks so. He's also in his 2nd round. He's got, thank you very much there, Matthew. Yeah, I'm going to the rest. That'd be a great place for him to go. I don't know if I see the Rams taking wide receiver in the first round. It seems like there'd be a team that would maybe even trade out of that first round pick and try to get more picks or something like that. But Could be. Round 2, they got Quinn Ewers going 50 to Seattle. They got Alfred Collins actually going 51 to Dallas Cowboys. CJ, your Cowboys. They have Cam Williams going 59 to Baltimore. Or at least Chad Reuter does here. And here is the most interesting of these selections that he has, Longhorn selections in his mock draft. He's got Jaden Blue going 64th.
Oh,
64th.
Second round?
Yeah, that's what I was like. Whoa.
Wow.
The Isaiah Bond thing was surprising. That is way more surprising than the Isaiah Bond thing. Jaden Blue.
Where'd this guy go to school? He got one of those UT diplomas in the room or what?
Is he a lifetime Longhorn? I have no idea. It's a great question, CJ. I have no idea when Chad Reuter went to school, but he is very high on the Longhorns, I think. Let's talk. Can we talk about Jaden Blue for a second?
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be a historically deep running back draft. Do we believe that Jaden Blue is he going to get drafted? That's my question.
Yeah.
Second round.
He'll get drafted.
Okay.
He'll get drafted. I think what you're seeing, unless you have a Saquon, a guy that can just take 300 carries and brush it off, right? Saquon's had some injuries, but you get what I'm saying. A freaky guy Bijan Robinson is in that conversation now. But even then, you see what the Lions do, right? The Falcons do this at times with Bijan, Tyler Algier, but the Lions are kind of that blueprint of having two really talented backs with different skill sets and making sure that they stay healthy throughout the duration of the year, right? David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, if you were to ask any NFL GM if you could take a tandem of backs and put them into each offense across the NFL, I would imagine that would be the number one pick, just in the sense that you get the speed, you get the pass game with Gibbs, and then you get pass protection, but you also get a bruising back that can take 20 carries a game and punch it in from the 5-yard line with David Montgomery, right? That was a guy that led the league a couple of years when it comes to touchdowns. You get that lightning and thunder, it makes things a whole lot easier. Blue fits that Jahmyr Gibbs role. Now, is he Jahmyr Gibbs? That's not what I'm saying. Jahmyr Gibbs went 12th overall for a reason, but they tested very similarly. They have very similar height, weights. It would make sense for a team to take Blue very, very early as a guy who has great tape at Texas, and you can coach up the fumbles. You can coach up, some of those other pass protection issues. But that speed is something you can't teach, and he possesses that again. Second fastest running back in the combine. I would assume a team with maybe like a Nick Chubb or a James Cook would look at Blue and say, wow, that guy would be a great offset to what we already have in our number one running back.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I've said that. I agree with you. I've never seen it this early, but I agree with you. I think there are like 8 teams in the league right now salivating over getting Jaden Blue in the mid to late rounds and going, he's perfect for what we want to do.
Right.
And Philly might be one of those teams.
It could be.
That's really all you need. And the other Longhorn, they also have Makuba here going in round 4 to 114th overall, to Carolina.
That feels a little low.
Yeah, that does feel. I think Makuba's an NFL guy. That does feel a little low, but they're saying it's a deeper safety draft, and safeties are never drafted high. Like Malachi Starks, I believe, is the only safety right now, or one of the only safeties being mocked in the first round. So I think it's more about where the safeties start getting drafted.
That run right there is pretty remarkable. If all of those guys fall to the 4th, you got R.J. Harvey at UCF, really talented running back. Deontay Thornton was 6'4", ran 4.39 as well. Really talented wide receiver. Makuba, obviously, and then Texas played Kobe Bryant two straight years at Kansas. Obviously, and Texas fans know all about Dallin Gabriel. That's 5 big names all going 112 to 116. That's crazy.
That's big time. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Matthew. I appreciate it. Yeah, Jaden Blue, who knows? Maybe he's starting to rise up some draft boards. He is a very unique skill set, but it's a freaky, unique skill set that teams might
do you guys think Shedeur Sanders will be the first quarterback taken?
I think Cam Ward is trending, right? He's trending. Cam Ward is trending toward being that guy.
Yeah. I like Sanders a lot, though.
Who do you like more, Sanders or Cam Ward?
I think I like Sanders. And I say this it's kind of going back to that same Quinn conversation. What does a quarterback look like when he's constantly under duress? Because that
Yep.
timing and speed in the NFL is going to be so much faster. I thought Miami gave Cam Ward all the time he needed. There were clips of him standing flat-footed, just taking a nap in the back of the pocket. Or if you go watch those 2 years of Shedeur Sanders at Colorado, and he was the most sacked quarterback in the country. And look, you could pin that on him to an extent, right? Probably needed to get the ball out quicker, needs to take what he could, check downs, etc. But that offensive line did not help him, and they had one of the worst running games in the entire country. So for them to make the jump from 23 to 24, win 8-9 games, whatever it was, I'm a big fan of him. I think he can play some ball.
Yeah, no, I do. I like Shedeur Sanders' game. I like both those guys, but I kind of agree with what you're saying about Shedeur Sanders and not having a ton of pass protection. I mean, he really had to make it. It was a lot of the time where he was running for his life and had to improvise and get second reaction plays or what he had to live on. And a lot of the NFL, you're going to a bad team if you're going to be drafted really high. A lot of times you got to go out there and make plays, make something out of nothing. I've seen Shedeur Sanders do a lot of that. All right, let's thank our friends over at Bluebird Organizing before we get ready to end today's show. Our friends at Bluebird Organizing. Check them out for yourself, folks. BluebirdOrganizing.net. I'm really excited about this partnership. As a matter of fact, I actually am looking into getting some Bluebird Organizing myself, actually. If you and your family have been feeling a bit overwhelmed, stressed in your personal space, holding on to too much stuff without enough room for it, trying to navigate a big transition in your life, maybe like moving or divorce or having kids. Well, if you're ready to bring more order and calm to the space you spend it every day, Bluebird Organizing, folks. Austin's premier professional organizers help you wherever you are in life. You'll end overwhelm, get organized, and make your space work for you. If the thought of having someone come look at your personal space feels a bit overwhelming and a bit intrusive, Bluebird Organizing, they understand this. So it's no small ask to ask someone, a stranger, to come into your home. But with Bluebird Organizing, there's no judgment at all. Only efficient plans that can resolve conflicts at home and change your life for the better. So give them a call or text them today at 737-346-7779. That's 737-346-7779. Or visit bluebirdorganizing.net. That's bluebirdorganizing.net. And you can book your free in-person consultation today. So you have nothing to lose, but everything to gain with Bluebird Organizing. And thank you to Bluebird for sponsoring the winning drive and being a part of the On Texas football family. All right. I got a couple of, I got one here from David Key Williams. He says, Rob Babers, can you envision Jalen Lott at field corner for Texas and Cade Phillips at boundary corner for Texas in 2026, 27, and perhaps 2028 if Phillips does not turn pro early? Yeah, I mean, and throw Jonah Williams in there to safety potentially as another freak in that secondary. Yeah, that, you can tell where they're going in secondary. And I'm with you, David Key Williams. The future is extremely bright. With Coach Akina back, we may be approaching another kind of golden age of Texas DBs with a Thorpe Award winner now, Jahdae Barron, starting the pipeline, and now they're recruiting a certain kind of athlete. It could be another reinvention of DBU. And that I could see Jalen Lott, Cade Phillips, those guys being a big part of it. So thank you very much, David Key Williams. We appreciate that. All right. Thank you very much to Matthew behind the scenes as well. Matthew is the real MVP. Can't do it without him. Thank you to all of our sponsors as well. Thank you to Bluebird Organizing, bluebirdorganizing.net. Thank you to Flat Creek State Winery, flatcreekestate.com. Really appreciate them as well. Also, thank you to our friends over at South Point Dodge. Thank you to them as well. We appreciate them. Thank you to Von Lane, vonlane.com. Remember to use that code OTF. All right, OTF25. You'll get $20 off your first ride with our friends over at vonlane.com. Thanks, Coach, for all the wisdom. Thank you, CJ, for all the nuggets. Appreciate you. And thank you guys all out there for the questions, the comments, and your participation. For Coach and for CJ and for Matthew behind the scenes. Also, thanks to Stevie Lee, Lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee, for joining us, and our friends over at Hard Grove Roofing for sponsoring Stevie Lee on Mondays. And until next time, hook 'em horns.